Welcome back to another episode of the 2020 podcast, Canada's #1 optometry podcast. I am your host, Dr. Harbir Sayan. Thank you so much for taking the time, as always, as you have so many times before, out of your busy day to support the podcast, to come here to listen. I know there's a million other things you could be doing, but you've taken the time to join me here on this episode. And I want to say a big thank you once again. In fact, that's the theme of this entire episode. This is the final episode of 2023, and it is one of the Eye2Eye episodes, which I haven't done for a while. But if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, then you know Eye2Eye episodes are you and I, eye to eye. Let's talk a little bit more personal. They're usually nice and short, and I usually just have one main takeaway that I want to really share with you. And so today's is really about what I would say holiday greetings and gratitudes. This year, if you've been following me on social media, if you know me personally, if you've been listening to the podcast, then you know I've been traveling a lot. There's been a lot of personal growth, professional growth, podcast growth, and I wanted to share a little bit about that with you, but really more so to share a lot of thanks to a lot of different people, because there's no way I would have done any of this, not even a fraction of it, without all the support and all the help that I've had. And I posted about this on social media recently. 14 different cities, and a few of those I went to multiple times. So it was like 16 or 17 different trips throughout the year to across North America, 19 different conferences. To be able to spend that much time in these different settings to learn and to grow and to engage with so many people has been incredible. It's been a blessing. The podcast has also grown exponentially this year, well beyond what I would have imagined it growing to. Thousands and thousands of downloads. In fact, this year it's been insane. And again, a lot of that is due to you who is now currently right now this moment listening to my voice, you, and to so many other people, and to other people who have supported the podcast and the guests that have come on. So I want to say a big thank you. Before I get into the gratitudes though, again, this sort of overall gratitude and thank you to all the supporters of the podcast for helping me. It's been 4 years I've been doing this, and for supporting me for 4 years to help this grow and to become into a platform where we can talk about how we can support our profession and the industry, eye care industry as a whole, and to hopefully talk openly and challenge ourselves as eye care professionals, and challenge the industry, and challenge disruptors and other people in the industry who may be changing things, and challenge everybody to make sure that we have the long-term perspective of the profession, the greater good of the profession in mind when we make decisions, day-to-day decisions on where we're going to work, how we're going to work, not only how we're going to serve ourselves, but the profession as a whole. And I know I've probably said some things along the way that have probably upset some people, but everything I've said, I feel truly, deeply from the bottom of my heart are true, and things that we all need to think about. And I know there's been so many people out there, so many of my colleagues and friends and peers who have supported a lot of the discussions and given me a lot of feedback, showing gratitude for the 2020 podcast being this platform to share these ideas. At the same time, there have been some people who haven't appreciated the conversations as much. And all I want to say about that is, if somebody out there does not feel that the conversations that I've had or the comments that I made are sitting very well with you, I'd challenge you to think about why that is. Because personally, I feel that everything I'm saying is in support of the profession as a whole and optometry as a whole, not personally, not for my personal betterment, but for the greater good of the profession, to support the entire profession across the country or entire continent for that matter. If we are all looking at how to push the boundaries and to make sure we are providing the best service, the best quality, the best products, and not the opposite, not trying to cut corners and not trying to reduce the value or to have a race to the bottom, that is what I'm trying to do. So if somebody out there is not happy with the words that I've shared this year, I would challenge you to look inside and see perhaps why it is, what it is that I said that didn't sit so well with you, and perhaps come on the podcast here to talk about it as well. Whether it's somebody who sees things the way I do, or maybe more importantly, somebody who doesn't see things the way that I do, so we can have that conversation in the open to really share both sides of that conversation to make sure everybody, all our peers and colleagues, can understand all sides of that conversation. Now, having gotten that out of the way, I want to spend most of this time saying thank you to as many people as I can. Now, as many people as I'm going to thank, I'm sure I'm going to forget some people. So I'm going to ask for some forgiveness right off the bat. If you're somebody that has supported the podcast, has supported me personally, and I forget to mention you, I'm sorry. Shoot me a message, DM me. I'll be happy to give you a personal thank you note. But of course, the biggest thank you has to start with my beautiful wife, Pam, who has been supporting me to really allow me to do all the things that I have been doing, give me the space to grow and hold down the fort at home. Of course, we have 3 beautiful girls. That's the biggest thank you that I could possibly give. A lot of gratitudes have to be shared with a lot of people within the industry. There's so many people who have supported the podcast, who have supported me throughout the past years, in fact. I just haven't had a chance to do something like this to say a big thank you in public. The first, maybe the biggest thank you I want to give is to the BC Doctors of Optometry. The BCDO, which is our provincial association here in BC, does so much to increase public awareness of optometry and everything that we do, whether it's getting media opportunities, whether it's setting up that amazing eye exhibit at Science World here in Vancouver, all these other things. So big shout out to BC Doctors of Optometry for everything they do, and to all the other provincial associations for everything they do to support optometry in their provinces and state associations that do that. I hope everybody keeps to working at that, and hope everybody gets involved in these associations to make sure that we can do as much as possible to continue to support our profession. Going on to industry partners, I want to say a big thank you to Hoya Vision Care Canada, who has supported me so much this year and really opening a lot of doors for me. A lot of opportunities have come either directly or indirectly thanks to Hoya. So big thanks to Hoya. I know they've found themselves in a little bit of hot water this year, but they've really been a true supporter of optometry, and I know they will continue to do so. So big thanks to Hoya for continuing to be there for me, for the podcast, for the profession. I want to say a big thanks to Thea Pharma Canada for all their support of the profession and of the podcast, to NeuroLens for the same reason, amazing people at NeuroLens, to Bosch and Lomb, EssilorLuxottica. I want to say a big thanks to Cooper Vision, All Docs. Yeah, I got to attend the All Docs meeting for the first time this year. Such a great group of people there. Such a great event. OSI Group. We recently joined OSI Group this year with one of our clinics. So big thanks to OSI for having us and for supporting our practice. The AOE, the Academy of Ophthalmic Education, and Mr. Ali Khan, the Vision Council, and last but definitely not least, I got to say a big shout out, a big thank you to my man, Dr. Daryl Glover and Defocus Media for all of the support. Honestly, I would not be here doing this right now in this moment if it wasn't for Daryl and Defocus Media and Jen Lyerly and all of the work they've done in the past and all the support they've given me. So big thanks to Defocus. So I want to say thank you to everybody who supported me there. And I want to leave you with one final thought. I posted something on social media recently, which was a comment or a post from a very popular Indian singer named Diljit Dosanjh. And the post was actually in Punjabi. So while I did get a lot of people commenting and liking that post, I also understand that there's a lot of people out there who probably didn't understand what he was saying. So I wanted to reshare that because the thought that he shared was so powerful and so thought-provoking. I thought it was just the perfect way to end the year and hopefully, start the next year off right. And what he said was, we spend our entire day looking at our phone. And we know our phone and all the apps we use have an algorithm. And he says that just by assessing how long we spend looking at a thing or what we've searched without liking it or commenting on a post, just by assessing how long we've spent looking at something, the algorithm understands how our behaviors are and then shares more content in line with those behaviors and those thoughts. But he says that he believes, and I believe, that life also has an algorithm. There is the algorithm of life. The same way our apps like Instagram have an algorithm, life has an algorithm. The more time we spend thinking about positive things, the more time we spend taking positive action, making moves, doing the things that we want to do, pushing our boundaries, living outside our comfort zone, life sees that and then feeds that into its algorithm and then gives us back more of the same. The same way Instagram or Facebook, the algorithms feed us back more of the same things that we look at or the decisions that we make or the things that we comment on. Life will also do that. The algorithm of life will also do that for us. The more time we spend thinking about positive things, the more likely we are to experience more positive things. And the more time we spend thinking negative things, jealousy, envy, anger, the more likely we are to get more of that through the algorithm of life. So I really felt that was so powerful. And I wanted to leave that last thought with you. And I hope that's the right way for us to end the year, thinking positive, taking positive action, and more importantly, starting the next year, starting 2024 on the right foot. I want to wish you all a very happy holidays and all the best in the new year. I have lots of amazing content already lined up, great interviews already recorded that I cannot wait to share with you next year. So much more to come. I want to thank you all again so much for all the support, everything everybody's done. Don't forget to leave a review and leave a comment, share this, send it to a friend, whatever you can do, everything you've been doing. Thank you so much for tuning in to the 2020 podcast, Canada's #1 optometry podcast. I will see you guys next year.